Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of your favorite award-winning podcast, Quotable.
Dutch, what is that infernal thing on your lip?
Is there a purpose to your presence?
Oh, yes. We're doing another episode of Quotable, my good man.
Well, then let's dig into it.
I don't know if I can with that infernal thing staring at me.
Open your balls.
Well, I'm looking forward to doing this one, but I know that you're going to have to take the lead on it just because I'm not as familiar, even though I did watch it 1.5 times approximately yesterday, and I forgot how funny this movie was.
Yeah, I was, a lot of people, I've heard a lot of people that I talk to, and I don't know if they're just closet fans of it, because I know that the movie did not do very well at all when, I guess when it came out in theaters or came out independently or whatever. But I mean, I heard that it was kind of a flop.
I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know why either, but everyone that I've ever talked to that has seen this movie absolutely loves it because, I mean, it is funny. It has a good plot to it. It has good acting in it and good actors. I mean, you know, you have Johnny Depp in the lead. You have Gwyneth Paltrow, Ewan McGregor.
The movie is Mortdecai. For those of you who just like to put on our podcast episodes and let them play back to back to back to back, you may not know because you didn't actually look at the title of this episode, but we're doing the movie Mortdecai starring Johnny Depp.
Yes, but I mean, it's not even just Johnny Depp that makes it funny. You have Ewan McGregor, you have Gwyneth Paltrow, you have Paul Bettany. I mean, all phenomenal actors. And
even Jeff Goldblum makes an appearance.
Yeah. Olivia Munn has a short little cameo in it, who is just ever so sexy.
Well, yeah.
That's a given. But I mean, because I think that some of the things in this movie that make it hysterical is, I mean, Johnny Depp actually pulls off an English accent very well.
What's interesting about this movie is you typically see American-made movies where British people are playing American roles.
Right.
Whereas this is the reverse because you have Johnny Depp and Gwyneth Paltrow that are both playing Brits.
Yes.
Alongside of Paul Bettany, who's actually British.
Yeah. And I think that when it comes to Johnny Depp in this role, I mean, he actually has a good English accent. Whereas to me, when I watched it, and I'm not taking anything away from Gwyneth Paltrow as an actress, but her British accent to me seems like it was forced. Like she has no idea what British people sound like, so she just kind of shot from the hip on it. I think that Johnny Depp
wasn't bad. I mean, I wasn't distracted by her British accent at all.
But yeah, that's neither here nor there. I mean, it was still a great movie. It's still a great movie, a phenomenal movie. I think it's incredibly hysterical. But there are just things about this movie that you just find funny. Like you and I were talking last night over dinner in the scene when he goes to the library with Ewan McGregor and his MI5 entourage because a painting gets stolen.
The Goya.
A dead hag gets murdered. A painting that she is cleaning and restoring gets stolen. And they're trying to find out what painting. And they're like, oh, yeah, you know, it's a missing Goya. But he was like, wait, I know that. And he's like, to the library, chaps. But after they find out what painting it was and he tells them the whole backstory to it, you just see him and he's like, oh, I'm off for a wee. And then goes to the bathroom and that guy comes in and just stares at him. He's like, hello. He's like, look. I'm terribly flattered, young man, but I just don't happen to swing that way. And that guy grabs him. He's like, ooh, I've read about this.
What the hell magazines are you reading?
Exactly. But he gets the shot in the back of the neck, and he was like, I've dozed off into a very uneasy slumber.
Interspersed with erotic dreams.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, was it an uneasy slumber or erotic dreams?
It both.
Yeah, it was both.
What I like about his character is he, during the movie, he either makes random sounds or he will just look at somebody and have this just weird smirk on his face.
Yes.
And I think a combination of his facial expression and that mustache, it just makes it so funny. Because it even has it when Alistair comes to his house to discuss the Goya that was missing. And there's the moment where, well, I mean, I want to talk about the scene just because it's the best scene in my opinion. It's my favorite scene in the entire movie. You know, so you have Alistair that comes to visit. Paul Bettany's character, Jock, he announces Martland.
Yeah.
Right. He says,
Inspector Martland here.
Well, I think he knocks on the door, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, "What is it?"
He's like, "It's Inspector Martland." So he's like, "What does that blighter want?"
Yeah. Well, tell him I'll ring him later when my marriage isn't in shambles.
He's like, "No, he's here." And he's like, "He is?"
Fine. Wheel him in. But then he doesn't get up. He's like, "Oh, you don't need to get up. I wasn't going to."
Yeah.
And then Alistair walks over to his drink cart, his beverage cart.
Yeah, and I like that you always hear Mordecai in the narrative.
His inner dialogue, yeah.
Yeah, and he was like, ignoring... when he goes over to the drink cart, and he was like, beware the carafe on the top shelf. It contains water. And then he was like, ignoring all the inviting drinks on the top tray, he reached underneath for what he thought was my Taylor 31. He's like, unbeknownst to him, I had filled it with an invalid port of extreme nastiness, and he poured himself a gross amount. He's like, score one for Mordecai.
But then
you see him takes a sip. He's like, ooh, excellent. And he's like score two.
But then Alistair asks him, he's like, do you have any cheese or any cheese to go with it?
Yeah, and he was like, ooh, I should think the special cheese, Jock.
And then Jock just looks over at him, like shaking his head, like no, don't make me do this.
Don't make me do this.
He goes into this. It's a kitchen. And granted, Mordecai lives in a gigantic mansion. It's almost like a castle.
Right.
It's ginormous. And this kitchen... You see in the background a bunch of like quails just hanging in a row. Like there's 2 people that live here. Well, 3 technically.
Yeah.
Because Jock lives there too. But all these quails are hanging up, and then you got this whole cabinet of cheese that just looks horribly aged, and they are all covered in mold. And
yeah.
stuff.
See, and I really don't know anything about cheese. Cheese.
I thought it too, man. As soon as you said it.
I don't really know anything about cheese. So I don't know if this is something that, because I know that a lot of people are like, oh no, you have to age cheese and then it's delicious. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like, I just buy, like the sliced prepackaged Munster cheese from... I mean, I don't eat it, but my family, they do, because, my family, they make wraps. They make, I don't know, other stuff that involves cheese. I don't really eat cheese. I mean, because I'm more of like I'm more of like a pizza and beer kind of guy. So it's like, all my cheese is just kind of pre-made onto a pizza and melted.
I like cheese. I do eat quite a bit of it, but I've gotten to the point where I will buy like the actual brick of cheese. I won't buy pre-shredded cheese, and anything that has individually wrapped is disgusting. That is not cheese to me. I like real cheese, and some of my friends from Florida, they know I was a bit of a cheese snob because I became famous for my grilled cheese sandwiches, and they were like, oh, we don't have any real cheese, and they like poke fun at me.
Right.
I don't call Kraft Singles real cheese. I don't know what the hell it's made with. I think it's made out of oil or something.
Yes, yeah. I don't know either. But when it comes to the cheese, and I do know of a lot of sophisticated people that they just have a cabinet at room temperature.
You've been exposed to a number or 2 of charcuterie boards in your day.
I have been,
and some of those cheeses are just horrid.
Yeah, I'm not going to eat brie on its own.
No.
Because one, I just don't know. But hell, give me some fucking Kraft American Singles, and yeah, I might wrap it around a hot dog and devour it.
You savage.
Yeah.
I've been to a tapas bar and ordered a cheese platter one time, and it had a variety of I guess, what one would call stinky cheeses, and some of them just did not appeal to me. It reminded me of feet. Like, and but the way that Jock reacts to having to go into this cabinet that's just full... Yeah, he's having to really psych himself up for it. He puts on gloves. But he's like, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God.
Yeah.
And then he opens it up and he finds this one specific plate and then brings it out and then puts the glass cover over it.
The thing that doesn't make any sense to me is, I mean, if you're going to open up, I mean, if you're going to put like the dishwashing gloves on your hand and you're going to open up this cabinet and you're like, and you open it up, it kind of seems like you would hold your breath until you put the glass top on. And now me, I mean, I would probably have grabbed the cheese, set it on the counter, shut the cabinet, then put the glass thing on top of it and been like, oh God. But he does it kind of opposite. Like he opens it up and then he turns around. He's like, it's like, oh God. And he gets the cheese out and sets it down, puts the glass top on it. He's like, oh God, that ain't natural.
But yeah, that noise that he makes right when he opens the cabinet doors, and he's like,
and you know how I feel about just small little noises.
Yeah,
I mean,
do.
if you have listened to enough of these episodes, everybody would know that I am a fan of just random noises, because I think a random noise can make or break a scene. And I think that's the ongoing thing that I love about this movie, Mortdecai, is Johnny Depp's little noises. And this isn't the first movie where he's just had little noises. And I think that we've done it in previous episodes, and this is kind of where I got it from. And I don't think a lot of people, like, I don't think you knew this is where I got it from, but you have started doing it as well, where it is one of those things where it's like, oh, let's go, like the cheese scene. I would just be more kind of like, ah.
Yeah.
Because I just find it disgusting. I mean, you see something, and when I find something disgusting, that I make that noise quite a bit. And I don't think anybody had any idea where I'd gotten it from. I mean, even my younger son does it now, where it's like, hey, you just want this to eat, and he'll be like, ah.
Sir, I have a weak stomach.
Yeah. So,
but that entire scene, though, like, the dialogue is fantastic. So Alistair is there to get Mortdecai to help locate this painting.
Yeah, because someone had gotten killed. She was a well-known art restorer.
Bronwyn Fellworthy.
Yes.
Oxford art restorer. Did you know her?
Oh, yes. It was like...
Slightly.
Slightly. He was like, I remember at one point... One would hope involuntarily.
I have it written down because this line was so good. So, if you don't mind.
No, go ahead.
I do recall a vague memory of her having once, involuntarily one would hope, releasing a fart. I love the way that he says fart too. Of such frightening power and timber that I feared she might have done herself a horrible mischief.
I love the way that the British explain things, because, I mean, even that there, and, they use words that aren't common nomenclature with the rest of, modern civilization. So I just sit there and think to myself, I'm like, no, they're speaking the King's English, man.
Yeah, but it's like...
But you know exactly what he's saying.
Even though we don't speak in that manner... Like, we would have just said, I think she shat herself.
Right.
But the way that he describes it so eloquently, it makes that scene.
Yeah.
But this is when Alistair notices Mortdecai's mustache.
Right.
And, immediately he's like, what's that infernal thing on your lip?
And I like that he just kind of brushes it off to the side. He was like, well, I don't have to really answer your question. But he's just like, is there a purpose to your presence?
Well, yes, it seems that... You are in debt to the Her Majesty's government in the tune of 8 million quid, old boy.
Well, he says your Majesty's hole.
Oh, yeah.
You're in the Majesty's hole. And he's like, I had no idea I was so deep in Her Majesty's hole.
And then it cuts to the scene of Jacques in the kitchen. But then Jacques comes back out and he just sets the tray onto the table and he's like, cheese. And this cheese is absolutely disgusting looking because it looks like it's covered in mold.
Yeah, it's just white and black.
And
I mean, honestly, tell you the truth, to me, it kind of looks like a chocolate chip muffin.
It's bad.
Almost at this point. So,
but I like when Alistair is leaving and he says, "Oh, by the way, if I may interject or whatever, incidentally is the word that he uses. Incidentally, I'd asked for cheese, not an instrument of biological warfare."
Score one for Martland. But every time, like, you know, he takes the glass lid off of the cheese and he grabs the piece, and you just see Mortdecai staring at the cheese, and he brings it, and then
he's basically following the cheese with his eyes.
Yeah, Martland just looks at him real quick, and he's like staring at the cheese, and then he looks up and he's like,
This is one of those moments where Johnny Depp,
where nothing needs to be said, but it makes it funny because of the little things that he's doing.
He squints his eyes as he smirks, almost like an evil grin.
Yeah,
like
that's right. Eat it.
Whereas
Eat it.
Alistair's looking at him, it's like, is this okay?
Yeah.
And he knows.
Yeah, it's like, you're not going to get me, old boy.
But the couple of times that Alistair puts it up to his mouth, Mortdecai opens his mouth as if to mimic him eating the cheese because he wants it so bad.
I want you to eat that crap, that nasty-ass cheese. Eat
horrible. It's like he's kept it there this whole time just for this moment.
Right. Eat it.
What is your... I mean, besides this one, because I think this is my favorite scene from the movie, what would be yours?
A close second is, I mean, anytime that the one scene after he gets kidnapped by the Russians, and then he wakes up and he has no idea where he is. So he turns on the light and he's just like looking around the room.
Yeah, he's shining the light on the paintings on the wall.
Because, I mean, this is just like a table lamp. But he's just shining it around, and it just all of a sudden becomes a flashlight.
Exactly.
So he's like, oh,
no, excuse me, old boy.
Okay.
A torch.
Yeah. So he's just, oh. And he's just looking around because he's seeing all these paintings, and he's like, oh. But then he shines it over in a corner, and he sees the two guys that abducted him.
He sees Vladimir and Dmitri sitting there.
And he's just sitting there, and he was like, all right, I demand some answers. He's like, no, you know what? Scratch that. I need a restorative. It's like, how about some finger sandwiches? It was like with some prawn cress eggs, and then some quail mayonnaise or something. And he was like, and a gallon of your finest whiskey. And he stands up and he was like, a proper way to start the morning. And then he closes back the curtain.
Yeah.
And he sees that he's in the Red Square of Russia, and he's like, oh. And he's like, he was like, on second thought,
caviar.
Yeah, he's like, caviar is like, some quail eggs and vodka so ice cold, you need gloves to handle it. And then he sits down and he is like, oh, and don't forget the herringbone spoon. I mean, we're not savages. But then Roman Romanov comes in and he's like, I'm Roman Romanov. And he was like, Sir Graham's aunt. He's like, Sir Graham's client. He's like, so I guess I have him to thank for this. And he kind of knows what painting has been stolen, but everybody just kind of assumes he has the painting, which unbeknownst to him, he does have the painting, but has no idea.
Yeah, because it was planted.
Yeah, by his garage man. So
at one point, I want to say Dmitri is the younger of the two. I think so.
Yes, Vladimir is
punches Mortdecai while he's sitting in the chair, because then the other, what's the main Russian guy?
Vladimir. And then you have Roman Romanov.
Roman Romanov is the one, because he kneels down and he licks a handkerchief and starts dabbing it at Mortdecai's nose because, it's got blood coming down. And because Mortdecai is not giving him the answers that he's wanting, he grabs him by the nose forcefully, and the way that he responds to it is like, oh,
you just pretended to be gentle, but you weren't. That, and then I think his dynamic with Jock, because Jock, when he introduces Jock, I think is hysterical, because he'll sit there and say, you know, oh, Jock. He was like, not only is he my manservant / thug, he also maintains an unbelievably copious amounts of sexual intercourse.
Yeah, right.
He's like, and a lot of times it'll get us into trouble. And then
Does that flashback to the...
yeah, and he was like, most notably on our recent escapade of a sale to a wealthy turkey farmer. He was like, and then they're in the car. And I actually say this quite a bit as Mortdecai says it in this scene. And I think we're on record for one of our episodes where something like, you know, you hear a gunshot and his side view mirror gets shot out and he's just like, what was that? And then, you know, the back window gets shot out and he turns around and Jock's like, get down. And he's like, good God, man, what have you done this time? And he's like, don't shoot farmer. But then they go driving off and he was like, good.
Really, Jock, the farmer's daughter?
Yeah. He's like,
oh, I just gave her the once over.
He's like, where do you find the time, man?
Well, okay, twice over.
But I love the girl that comes running out because she's so
Jock.
damn attractive.
She's so damned attractive. Yeah, she's coming running after the car
Yeah,
like,
it's
I've
like,
got my own flat. I was not expecting that British accent coming from her because it's almost like Cockney.
Yes. So, I mean, I think Jock's character is probably one of my favorite in it. Mortdecai, he doesn't really... I think he's always just kind of worried about things. And, you know, especially when, you know, his wife comes home after being in France or whatever. But she comes home because she learns of their massive debt. So she was coming back to grab some of the family heirlooms, which are the paintings, and they're going to enter them for auction. And he's just staring at the one. He's like, even my horsey picture was on the block.
Yeah, and I don't know how Mortdecai came to live in such a lavish
to me,
homestead.
it just kind of seems like it's
inherited, maybe.
Yeah, it seems like he's probably like the fifth generation in that house
because he doesn't seem to be very financially responsible. You know,
no, he's not. He just kind of seems like. Yeah.
And it's funny.
I owe money all around town.
Yeah. I don't know what he does exactly.
He's an art dealer.
So.
But it seems like, I mean, you learn in the very beginning that not only is he an art dealer, but he probably rips people off. Because you have Fang.
Yeah. Yeah. The very beginning of the movie, it opens up in this bar in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
And he's got this expensive vase.
Ming vase.
Yeah, he's trying to sell for like £3 million or whatever. I don't remember what currency.
No, it's £2 million pounds. Because he's like, as you can see, he was like, this vase is like very, very rare.
Very rare.
But then the Hong Kong guy, Fang. Is like
Fang fat
with yeah, but he was like a low immersion glaze, and he was like, oh, from the Xinjiang province. He was like, they don't use low immersion glaze. He's like, but you know that you're testing me, and then smacks the guy, and he was like, oh, terribly sorry. He's like, mosquito. He's like,
you see it right there.
Yeah, pointing at his white glove, and then he was like, I think that you'll feel that it's a bargain at £2 million. And he was like, I will give you £1 million. And then he smacks the guy again, and he was like, ooh, that was a big one.
Yeah, he's smacking the guy's henchman.
Yeah.
See what I did there?
So he smacks the guy again, and then he was like, when he was like, fine, Fang. It's like £1 million it is. And he was like, I trust you brought the notes. So he brings him out, and when he goes to grab him, Fang grabs his hand.
On second thought,
and
he's like, I'll
keep the vase
and the money.
He was like, that tapestry that you sold me, is like, I found out it was a fake, and you charged me £3 million when I found out it was worth only £1. But his noises that he makes during that Mortdecai, because he's just like, and then he was like, yes, he was like, so I think that I'll take a finger, and he was like, so the little noises, I think, is what I love most about this movie.
And I like the
and
fact,
it's always periodically.
What makes it funny is that Mortdecai is not like an alpha male. He's not a man's man, which is why he's got Jock, because you can't see Mortdecai fighting anybody.
No.
He comes across as a bit of a pansy.
He does. I do like that he tries to be tough, though.
No, he tries to play things off like he's not fazed by it, but it's very unconvincing.
Well, at the end when he's going to switch the paintings at the the art gallery.
Yeah, he does. He does fence with starts with an S. Slappy Sammy
Samsonite.
The other mustachioed man.
Emil Strago.
Yes,
he goes to fence with him, and he was like, "Ooh," he's like, "I see that you are well versed in the art of fencing." He was like, "I'll have you know." It's like, "So am I." He's like, "It's an important part of any gentleman's education."
And he does that. There's a specific name, like a specific move when it comes to fencing, and I don't remember what it's called.
I can't remember either.
But he says it's like my specific whatever this move is called is like world renowned.
Yeah, and he's like, and it's still whispered about in the halls of
Eton or something.
But then he was just like, they do just like 2 hits on the blade, and he's like, and turns around and runs away because he immediately realizes he was like, I'm no good at this.
He runs up the stairs, and then Strago follows him up there, and then Mortdecai finds like a pillow, and then Strago easily stabs right through it. But then the guy comes in to grab the next painting because they're doing the auction, and they both just freeze, and it's just kind of this mutual understanding. It's like, well, neither of us want to get caught, so in this moment we must be allies.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, he'll do stuff like that, but I mean, I can't picture him like punching anybody. Like,
no,
he's not that tough.
Yeah, I do like when but he does talk a big game. Like another scene where he talks, which I think is hysterical.
Oh, he just tries to weasel his way out of stuff.
When they go to the auction house and he has to make the switch for the painting, so he runs outside but gets grabbed by Dmitri and Vladimir. And
again?
Yeah. But Dmitri is, open your balls. And he was like, Vladimir. He's like, what is Dmitri's obsession with testicularis? And then he's just like, he gets punched, and he's like, he squats down because, he just got punched.
Pain, yeah.
So he just sits there and he was like, oh, Dmitri. He was like, your parents met only once. It's like, and money changed hands.
Yeah.
It's like probably less than a 20.
He gets punched again.
Yeah. But then Jacques comes out of nowhere and, beats up Vladimir and Dmitri. But Johnny Depp has the gun and throws it. But when he throws it, it hits the ground, goes off, ricochets, and hits Jacques in the hand.
Yeah.
Which is not the first, not the second, but the third time that you find out that Mortdecai has shot Jacques.
This is not the first time I shot Jacques. Yeah. They were on like a quail hunt.
Yeah.
And this is the first time Jacques is out trying to get the quail to fly away from the bushes.
You see a lot of manservants out there just sweeping away at the bushes and everything, trying to get the quails to take off. And everyone just, they're like, oh, there they are. So all the manservants duck, and they're just shooting. But you just see Charlie look up, and he's like, oh, because he didn't even fire his gun. He's like, I'm afraid I'm all thumbs with these damn things, and rests the barrel on his arm. But Jacques comes up, and he just pulls the trigger.
Yeah, because Mortdecai just kind of turns to the side
he's
with the rifle under his arm, and Jacques is right behind him, and he just blasts Jacques.
Yeah, and he was like, oh, I seem to have shot Jacques. But I love Sir Graham because Sir Graham's just like, quiet. And he's like, man down.
Man down. It's like, we need medical help here or something.
And then at the garage, the first time you see the interaction between Emil Strago and Mortdecai is when he goes to see his garage man to let him know, hey, we're selling off my Rolls Royce to that thick-fingered American Milton Crampf. And then Emil Strago shows up and starts shooting. But I like Emil Strago, or not Emil Strago, but the garage man, because his introduction is so funny because he was just like, you blood-sucking, like, penny-pinching mother effer. I mean, goes on.
He just goes on this whole tangent because he hasn't been paid for his services.
So you see, and he was like, he goes on this whole tangent because he hasn't received money for services I've asked. And he was like, and now I'm asking him to send off my prize Rolls Royce to America, to Milton Crampf on credit. And then you just see him, he's like, blood-sucking bastard. Hello.
It's like, all right, and I'm done.
Yeah.
But it kind of reminds me of...
But then you see Mortdecai, he's like, listen, I was like, I didn't show up to discuss the relationship with your mother or the relationship with my mother. So it's like little things like that. But then Emil Strago, like, you hear gunfire and it hits the car and he's like, hey, someone to shoot in the bloody car. And then he gets shot and he's like, hey, someone to shoot at me. So...
And then he gets shot again and dies.
Yeah. But Johnny Depp, or Mortdecai, pulls the gun out of his holster and just blindly raises the gun over the car, and he was like, I'm armed.
Jock happens to step right in front of
and he shoots, and then you see Jock come around the corner holding his arm, and he's like, oh, Jock, I'm terribly sorry. He's like, I didn't mean to shoot you. And he's like, oh, it's all right, sir.
I've got another.
Yeah. So he's just like, all right, he's like, give me the gun. He's like, oh, good idea, jockey.
Yeah, because he doesn't look comfortable holding a pistol at all. Because even when he's about to hand it to Jock, he's like pointing it at him. It's like, So yeah, all these interactions with Mortdecai and Jock are funny as hell.
That they are.
Jock is just way too tolerant of Mortdecai.
Yeah.
And Mortdecai just comes across as like he takes Jock for granted. But then again, he kind of doesn't. It's like he appreciates Jock.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like he's not very careful around him.
No. And I do...
He does back the car into him.
Yeah.
For fuck's sake.
But I love that scene because as he backs up and you see Jock's face in the rearview mirror like, oh! And he gets hit and flies back into the cabinet.
This is another noise. Mortdecai makes another noise.
Like, oh. Like he's irritated that Jock had the audacity
to be standing behind
the car.
Well, it's like you're the idiot that put it in reverse.
But I do love when he gets in and he's sitting there and he's like, oh gosh, it's been ages.
Right.
It's like, I don't even know what I'm doing.
No.
But then that scene also I love because he makes it so funny because he was just like, he gets out of the car and he's like, Jock, you okay? And he's like, oh, it's all right, sir. It's just a cracked rib. And then he was like, all right, I want you to go out the back door on foot.
On foot, yeah.
And he was just like, okay. And then he goes running out and, you just see him and Emil Strago circles around and grabs him. And then that's when they're admiring each other's mustaches. And then, he's sitting there and Jock comes with a car, hits Emil Strago. And he was like, what do I do now, Jock? And he was like, run, sir. And he's like, again?
It's funny because when he's running, I don't know if
he
was the inner...
so weird.
But it was like he has the inner dialogue about how he used to be like an athlete or something. He's like, I could do this for him.
It's not an inner monologue like in his head. He's saying it out loud to himself. And he was like, that's right. The Mortdecai men have always been in tip-top shape. He's like, yes, run I shall. Run like a bloody gazelle. And then he's running. It cuts back to Jock and Emil Strago, and they're fighting while he's trying to drive and pick up Charlie. And then it cuts back to Charlie, and he's like, oh, I can't. It's burning. It's burning. He's like, I want to die. No, I don't. And starts running again. But the way he's running is so funny because his feet are kind of pointed out like a penguin or a pigeon or something. And he's running, but his arms are barely moving. And he runs out into the street and then gets hit by a car. And he's on the hood. And he looks and he was like, Jock. And he was like,
get in the car, sir.
Yeah. He's like, I'm on the bonnet. But when they crash the car And you just see Johnny Depp in the back. Emil Strago got thrown out of the sunroof of the car. Johnny Depp's in the back. Jacques crashes the car into like a fruit stand, and you see Mortdecai in the back, and he's like, oh, Jacques. And then Jacques like, it's quite all right, so I'm all right. And he's like, no, not that, man. He's like, my sproutling, has it been compromised? Like he's just worried about his mustache.
Yeah, pretty much through the whole movie. But after the second time, Jacques gets shot in the hand, and then that same pistol shoots, I think, Vladimir in the foot.
Yes.
And when Mortdecai gets up, he accidentally steps on Jacques' hand and then on Vladimir's foot.
Right.
It's like, you clumsy oaf. But the first time that Joanna sees Mortdecai's mustache is funny as hell. She had been away
in Paris or France or something.
Yeah, I think
like
so.
Somewhere in France.
Something weird. So when she comes home, Mortdecai makes it a point to stay with his back facing her because he wants his mustache to be a surprise. And when he turns around, she looks right at it, and she kind of laughs.
Yeah, because as she's walking up, she was like, oh, could you imagine the two of us in that frigid city? The only thing keeping us warm is our passion. And then he turns around, and she was like, what on the world have you done? What is that? And he's
like, it's just something that I've
a little something I cooked up whilst you were away. And then, like how he describes it, because he was like, I believe it was Maggie Thatcher who said, kissing a man without a mustache is quite like eating an egg without salt. And he goes for a kiss, and she was like, don't point that thing at me. And then Jacques walks by, and he's like, told you. But I love how Jacques is prepared for this, because she was like, you have 5. And then, but he's trying to defend it. He was like, you know, a man's upper lip is his sovereign ground. And she was like, you have 5 minutes to shave it off. And he's like, every Mortdecai man before me had the same. Why can't I? And he was like, oh.
It's like, I'm already invested.
He's like, but Pookie, I'm already invested. He was like, come on. He's like, it's not even fully sprouted yet. It's just a baby.
It's not even fully corked yet. It's just a baby.
And then she was like, it's going to get bigger. And he's like, it will come to fruition. Yes.
It's going to get bigger. But she immediately is like, well, she wants nothing to do with it.
Yeah. And she was like, I shan't be having dinner downstairs tonight. I'll just take a supper tray in my room. And he's like, very well, madam. And then she was like, oh, and Jacques, prepare the guest quarters for Lord Mortdecai. I will be sleeping alone. And he was like, already taken care of, madam. Because he foresaw that she is not going to like this mustache.
Of course.
And he's going to be staying by himself.
Jacques is no spring chicken.
Yes. I've done this song and dance before.
Yes. He knows what's up.
But I do love that after Alistair leaves and, says, hey, I'm going to need you to go off and, try to retrieve this painting and do all this other stuff and everything.
And Alistair's got a thing for Joanna, and he has since they were in school. And it even does a flashback.
It's quite annoying.
Yes.
Really.
He's like, after 3 years, Alistair finally got up the courage to,
express his feelings for
inverse.
And then he just knocks on the door and opens it, and she's on top of Charlie having sex, and he's tied. But I love Charlie's reaction, because he's just like, oh, hello. He's like, would you mind,
good
old boy? The door. He's like, oh, yes, I'll just shut the door. But when he goes up to see Joanna, and he's like, as he's ascending the staircase and he's talking to himself, he's like, oh, Joanna, my love beast, my rumpus room rascal. He's like, oh, you have no idea the thrashing you are about to receive. And he's talking all big, but you and I talked about it last night over dinner. He knocks on the door and he's like, Joanna, it's I, Charlie, your husband. It's like the way, like he has to announce it, like who else is in the fucking house?
Who else would it need? Who else would it possibly be?
So he just he's like, this is your own personal Sheikh of Araby. He's like, come to
invade your tent or something
yeah,
like that.
and he's like, send your camel to bed, damn it.
Does
and
this
then
mean that you have, what is the word? Excommunicated that
the mustache of the prophecy. And then he was like, I'll trim it. But then he tells her, he's like, did I forget to mention that this is a matter of national security? It's like, which I may not well return. And then you just see him staring at the door and makes a noise right before he opens it, because right before he opens it, he's like, it just flings open the door, and he's standing there like, that's right.
This is happening.
Yep. And then rushes over to her at the bed, at the footbed.
And he immediately kisses her without saying anything else. And then
she's like, and he's like,
oh, darling, please.
Steady yourself.
This is when you find out that she's got a gag reflex.
Yes, and he is a sympathetic.
He has a sympathetic gag reflex.
Yes.
So whenever she gags, he gags.
Yeah, so she's like, and he's like,
This happens multiple times throughout the movie.
Yeah, and then he goes to try and kiss her again, and she was like, and he's like, oh, darling, for the love of God, like, you are killing me. And then, but then she sits there and says, she was like, it looks like you have a vagina on your face. And then he's like, surely you mean the pubic hair above the vagina. He's like, I simply cannot wrap my head around that. He was like, but now that you mention it, I can think of nothing else. And then she just pushes him away, and she's like, go stuff a mattress with that thing.
Yeah.
And then she was like, and I mean the mustache.
Yeah, because as he's walking out the door, you see he's got an erection, and then he quickly covers it with his robe.
Mr. Burgundy, you have a massive erection.
Oh.
So I do.
It's the pleats.
But I think one of my favorite lines in this entire movie, and it's not my favorite scene, but one of my favorite lines, because you and I started quoting it quite a bit, is the scene when everyone at Milton Cramp's party gets sick, and then they're like, oh my God, it's the shellfish. But you see Mordecai, and he was like, well, thank God none of us had any. So as they're in the high-speed pursuit with Georgiana and Emil Strago, you see Jock in the back, like, throwing up outside the car. And you see Johnny Depp, he's like, ugh. It's like, Jock, please. And he's like, what were you thinking, man? Shellfish at a catered affair?
Yeah. He's have you lost your bearings?
That is my favorite line of the entire movie. Yeah,
and then obviously you get food poisoning. It's going to last a while, but it doesn't last as long as it normally would have. But he's like,
yeah, because food poisoning is kind of like an 8-hour deal.
At least.
I mean, but Jacques was kind of like just like an 8-minute type of thing.
But he goes to throw up again, and like Mordecai's trying to get him to stop, and he's like, it's all right, I swallowed it. Yeah.
He's like, oh, there's more. He's like, no more. And he's like, it's okay, I swallowed it.
I like the scene where Joanna goes to visit that old guy, and his name escapes me, but she's trying to get information from him.
The Duke of Ashburlington.
Yes, very long, strange name, but he's got that robe that you really liked.
Oh, dude, I love that robe.
It's like a flannel robe, like a plaid robe.
But I love that he's wearing a suit. Mm-hmm. Watching... I guess it would be like the English equivalent of like Bassmasters or something, but it was like watching polo.
Well, surely you mean equivalent, old boy.
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
That as well. But, it's like Duke of Ashburlington, he's like, Lady Mortdecai, but he gets up and he's like, Lady Mortdecai, oh, how are you, dear? And he just kind of like waddles over and he's like, it's like, you'll forgive me, please. And he was like, and then she was like, oh, of course, your grace. And he was like walking over and he's just like, Lady Mortdecai. And then he just picks up his phone and hits 3 numbers and he was like, who is this Lady Mortdecai and what does she want? Yeah. He's like, why wasn't I told? And he was like, oh, I was? He was like, oh, yeah. He's like, well, she's just so damned attractive. Yeah. But then he hangs up and then walks back over and he was like, it was the water bailiff. I was on the phone with the water bailiff. Fishing tomorrow. Hate it. sit. And then she was like, oh, Bronwyn Fellworthy. He was like, I understand that you were close and everything. And then the phone rings. He picks up. He's like, what is it? And he was like, well, I don't know what she wants. I've been trying to get rid of her, but she's just so damned attractive.
And he keeps trying to get her to go into the bathroom with him, and he's implying that...
Well, that's what he's saying. That's what he eventually says, because she was like, she had a painting. Then she tells him what the painting is, and he was like, Bunny has it. And then she was like, Bunny, is that someone from your platoon? And he was like, January 2nd, 2nd Platoon, 77th Division. He's like, Bunny was the first man in the room, captured Goyne, and then took the painting, rolled it up, and then walked out, and nobody knew. And then she was like, does Bunny still have it? And he was like, oh, care to go to the lavatory with me and take a peek? And winks and like clicks his tongue. And then she was like, a most gracious offer, your grace. She's like, but I must respectfully decline. And he was like, the painting, the Goya. And he was like, must to the WC to have a look. She was like, I must be going. And she stands up and she was like, thank you so much, your grace, and gives him a kiss. And he was like, who are you? And she was like, the water bailiff, sir. Fishing's been canceled tomorrow. And he's like, thank heavens. So, but then at the end, when she finally finds out, Mortdecai is the one that pieces it all together, because she was like, yeah, there's no record of Bunny from, the listing for the platoon or something. And then Mortdecai's like, love your Bunny. He was like,
it looks like it was written in freaking crayon.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, a child. She spawned a child. Ugh. But when he finds out who Bunny is, which turns out to be the Duke of Ashburrington or whatever, and he was like,
it's Winchesterton Field.
Yeah. It was like, love your Bunny. He was like, the Duke is Bunny. He was like, he has the painting. So when they drive back, they find out he's passed away. But I love when Joanna had said something. She was like, oh, that's why he wanted me to go to the bathroom. He's like, what? And he's like, yeah, I just thought he wanted me to come in and take a look at his John Thomas. And then you just see Mortdecai, and he's like, Randy bugger. Which I think is an overlooked line, which I totally respect.
Yeah.
Out of all these movies.
No, I love stuff like that. But Mortdecai has to go to the States to try to retrieve the Goya, which he discovers had been stowed away in his Rolls Royce. Right. And when I don't know who warns him about Cramp's daughter. She's a nympho.
Yeah, his wife. Because
that's his wife?
Because they're in the they go to the hotel first, and he was like, I feel that we may have made a wrong turn and ended up on the set of a pornographic film.
Yeah, because he's in the lobby of that hotel, and these two bikini-clad girls walking around.
But it's funny because he walks up to the desk, and he was like, I'm sorry, but have we taken a wrong turn and ended up on the set of a pornographic film?
Checking in.
It's like, what? And then he was like, what type of place is this? He's like, an air raid or something. He was like, checking in. And then Jock is like, yeah, we're checking in.
And then he's the voice of reason finally steps in here.
So he gives him the card, and he was like, oh, so you just show up to the States and you're presented a credit card. He was like, no wonder your country's in financial ruin.
Right.
And then he goes to walk away, and he was like, do you need help with your bag, sir? And he was like, no,
I don't need any help with my bags. I have a fucking manservant.
But then he looks at him in sheer disgust, like, what the fuck are you?
That guy looks familiar. The one that was behind the desk.
I can't think of what he's from. But I do like when he walks up to the elevator and Jock pushes the button, but there's the cacti right there, and Johnny Depp pokes it, and he's like, ow.
But then all these mustachioed men start going into the elevator.
Yes, and Mortdecai is just in love because everyone that comes on has a different style mustache, and he just thinks it's the greatest thing ever.
I also get the impression he's kind of threatened by it.
Yeah.
But he's trying to get sleep in the hotel room, and he can just hear people having sex in the room next door.
Yeah, so he calls that room. He's like, oh, yes, hello, American? He's like, the rooms here are made of solid concrete. He's like, which is actually very helpful in case there's some type of air raid. He's like, but not very good for the acoustics. And he was like, and if you just had an arduous crossing, then, some of us want to get some sleep. He's like, so if you could just stop making sounds like a wildebeest, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you, man.
But sorry, sir.
Yeah, it's Jock on the other line. He's like, good God, man, put that thing away.
But it's funny because when he finishes, you actually hear him say, done.
But, he calls his wife. And then she was like, oh, and she answers and she's like, hello. And he's like, oh, Joanna, apple of my eye, love of my life. She's like, who is this? He's like,
it's Charlie,
your husband. Charlie. Your husband?
Like, how do you not know? How do you not know the sound of your own husband's voice?
But then finally Jacques finishes and he was like, done. He's like, finally. She's like, Charlie, why are there people achieving climax in your direct vicinity? I love that he immediately goes on the offense, which is the other defense, because he hears Martland in the back and he was like, is that Martland? And she was like, oh, yes, he came over and he's like, that Judas, that Agamemnon. And he was like, oh, the person that, ruined France or whoever. And then she was like, why are there people achieving climax in your direct vicinity? And he was like, how have you know that certain people of the opposite sex may enjoy a mustachioed man? And then she was like, Charlie, what are you saying? And he was like, oh, maybe we'll ask that nympho Cramp's daughter what she renders on the subject, huh? And then she hangs up on him and then gets up and leaves. So you can tell, like, oh, it's not going to be pretty. Something's going to happen.
Yeah, well, Alistair is, like, he's taken by Joanna, and he has been for years and years. And he meets Joanna for lunch, and he refers to it as, he's like, MI5 is not just, champagne for lunch and the occasional tryst.
And she's like, is this a tryst? And he's like, no.
Why does he get all choked up? He says no way too many times.
No. No, what I mean.
She's very good at taking advantage of people that she's trying to get information
Well, especially
from.
him.
Yes.
Because she was like, oh, Bronwyn's College. What was that? And he was like, Joanna, you know that I can't discuss the case with you. And she was like, oh, yes, Alistair Dan. She's like, oh, look at the time. I really must be going. And then she gets up and she was like, thank you for listening, Alistair. She's like, I really feel like I can confide in you. She's like, don't you feel the same? And he's like, yes, I do. And she was like, like you could tell me anything. Bronwyn's College. And then she just kind of touches his ear. And then he's like, Blackfriars Hall. She's like, thank you. And he's like, damn it.
What I do like about this movie is they found a creative way to do the transitions from one location to the next.
I actually brought that up to, my lady the other day when we were watching it. I told her the exact same thing. I'm like, when it shows him going from like Hong Kong to London, London to Los Angeles back to London, I just absolutely loved the way they shot that.
It's very creative, yeah. Because, typically you'd see the map.
Right.
With like the superimposed airplane flying over the top.
Yeah.
With the line behind it. But like, no, they did it in a very cool way.
Yes.
And I can't even do justice trying to describe it.
Yes.
But I do like when they show up at Cramp's mansion and he meets Georgina for the first time, and he sees her riding her horse, and he's like,
lucky saddle.
Yeah. And she gets up and immediately just tries to like hit on him.
Yeah.
She's like feel me.
Yeah, and then
and he just touches her on the shoulder.
Yeah, and she's like, no, here, stupid. And opens up her shirt, and he has that drink, and he's just like, oh, okay, and throws the drink, and he's just like
starts
massaging her breasts. And then you see, or you hear Milton come up, and he was like, Charlie Mortdecai, you old son of a bitch. And he was like, I'm massaging the breasts. I mean, there's so many great scenes in this movie that I mean, we could go on for another hour about this easily.
But I do like in that scene, and I know we're about to wrap up, but he dismisses it. He's like, she's already gone through half the staff.
Yeah. Well, I do like it when they're looking at the painting, and he was like, "Oh, this is exquisite." He was like, "Doesn't she remind you of my mother?" And then he's like, "I never met your mother." And he was like, "Yeah, no, not in my mom, but in me,
in my face,
in my face." He was like, "Can't you see it?" He was like, "With the eyes,
like the full lips,
and everything." And he's just like, "Oh, okay." It's just like whatever.
He says it weird. He's like full lips, the distant gaze.
Yeah. But then he was like, "Hey, we'll call the hotel and have your stuff sent over." He's like, "Why don't you go up and have a shower? You smell like a horse." And he was like, "And if you have enough time," he was like, "you can couple with Georgina. She's been through half the staff already." But well,
everyone's had a turn.
Yeah, I think when you find out, I meant to get to that when he called his wife and she was like, "Well, beware of Cramp's daughter. She's a well-known nymphomaniac." And he was like, "Really? How do you know such things?"
Because he's Jock, for Christ's sake.
No, it was Joanna that told him.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
So.
Pish posh. Yeah, there's a lot, and we want to keep our episodes under. Well, we've already breached the 50-minute mark, so damage has been done. But we'll keep it under an hour at least. But this has been a fun one, and
yeah, and I mean, if you have not seen this movie, then I mean, it is a definite recommendation.
Yeah, and as of right now, it is available to watch free on Tubi.
Yes,
so
there will be ads, but trust me, well worth it.
So as of what's today's date?
Today is
the 18th.
May 18th.
May 18th. So as of May 18th, it's free on Tubi, but I know they take movies off fairly frequently, so by the time this episode posts,
hopefully it'll still be there.
I hope so. If not, find it to rent. It's definitely, if you've never heard of Mortdecai, it's definitely worth the watch.
Yes.
For sure. But that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, and I think just with that being said, I mean, this has been another successful episode. That's why we are an award-winning podcast. And I mean, until next time, Quotable Podcast, out. Open your balls.